So this go-to meeting is for personnel class for the reliability assignment that's given in week 4 and due week 5. So there's two types of reliability that we're going to run. The first one is going to be test retest, and we simply do that through a correlation.
Should I see anything right now?
Sure.
I don't see anything right now.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
I'm not seeing anything yet.
Ah, good. Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. I thought you were
There we
asking
go.
me if it's okay to say anything right now, and I was saying yes, but you said seeing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, there
can you
it
see
is.
my
Thanks.
screen now? Good. Okay, so we're going to do two types of reliability, test, retest, and Cronbach's alpha. And the test retest is just a simple correlation. And so the first thing that we need to do is make sure that our variables are in scales. And I think here they are at the bottom. Agree 1, conscientiousness 1, and so on, and then agree time 2, conscientiousness time 2. Now what I don't see is one for the overall. So we may have to calculate that. So how to do this is we're going to correlate agree 1 with agree 2, and then conscientious 1 with conscientious 2. So I'm going to go to analyze, correlate by variate, scroll down to the bottom, and probably the easiest way is to put them all into one matrix. Although that might be harder to interpret. The other way is you could do them one at a time, but that would be a lot of clicking in your windows. So what you're going to do is look for agreeableness time 1 with agreeableness time 2, and that's 0.91. So we talked about making a chart. And you would put that in there. So this is your R value, 0.91, that's really high. Your P value is less than 0.001, and your N is 89, which means your degrees of freedom are going to be 87 because we subtract 2. Then we can also look at conscientiousness, and I guess it is going to be pretty easy to follow because you're just going to follow this diagonal here. Right here, this is the easiest way to do it. So conscientiousness times time 1 and conscientiousness time 2 is 0.73. Again, p-value less than 0.001, degrees of freedom 87. Okay, extroversion time 1 and time 2 is 0.79. Neuroticism or emotional stability is what we should call it now since it's changed names, is 0.90. And openness to experience is 0.94. We're going to round up there. So just trying to open up a file.
What are we answering? We're doing test retest right now.
We're doing test retest, that's right, which is a correlation.
To do this, you need to correlate the scales. Personal defense is the time 1
And
with time 2.
Right.
So you just went through, so with time one with time two for the one were per se, let's see, is that first column agreeableness?
Wait, say that again?
So the assessing the test resist, you need to correlate the scales. So time one for time two are the numbers you just went over, that's time one versus time two.
Right. So you're going to correlate time 1 and time 2 for each
Okay.
scale.
Okay.
And then I talked about in class making a table, and it could look something like this. Measure, and then you have agreeableness, conscientiousness, and so on and so on. And then you can put up here test, retest, correlation. And then in here, put your 0.91. Let's see, what are the numbers? 91, 73, 79. 90 and 94. You know, of course, you would want to make this look good, you'd want to center it. And then here, so that is all that you would do. Now, I believe, do your instructions ask you for the overall NEO?
You know what? It doesn't, but in class you said there
I
would be
talked
six
about it.
categories, and one of them would be overall. Yeah. So
Well, okay, if the instructions don't say for it, then we wouldn't do it. But what you would do, in case any of you are curious, is that you would create a variable that summed all of these or averaged, and it's probably not in the instructions because I'm not sure whether you sum or average them. And then you would just do the same thing. You would do a time 1 of the whole test and a time 2 of the whole test.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't say to do overall. It says to do correlate the scales time one for each personality construct,
Okay.
and then internal consistency alpha for each dimension of the inventory for each personality construct.
Okay, and so okay, right. So we're just going to do it for the scales. And I've got a question here on the chat function. If we reported it like a correlation table, would that be wrong? No, but that would be a lot of work. So this is all you have to do. I mean, you can do more, but think about how clear is that to the client. Whereas here you can say Cronbach alpha or internal consistency time 1. And then I'm going to need another column. Column to the right. Cronbach alpha time 2. So in order to get this, so now we're going to go back and we're going to do the internal consistency part. And that is where here you do need to know the items. So it's helpful that these are summed up for our test retest, but I'm actually going to need to get the instructions. And I'll probably only show you a couple of these.
So the instructions you gave us on the back of the, like it says, analyze, scale, reliability analysis. After selecting the statistics, check item scale, item design, summaries, means, variances, interaction, correlations, covariances. That's what I went through that process for all 5 of them. And is that where would that be the right Chromebacks?
I'm not
Every
sure I
time you say
understand the
Chromebacks,
question.
pardon me.
I said I'm not sure I understand the question.
So the reliability in class, interpreting XPSS stuff with the instructions that we have here are, so you go to analyze, scale, reliability analysis.
Right, but which items are you putting in? You know what, Bruce? Why don't you watch me do it?
Okay,
I
all
think
right.
that might be easier. Now the trick is I need to understand what the items are while I'm in SPSS. And I don't have this printed out.
I can tell you what they are.
Okay, so if you can tell me for the first one. So let me go to, so we're gonna go analyze, scale,
So
reliability analysis.
so neuroticism 1 is toward the bottom.
Okay, so question 1, time 1, question 2, time 2. So you want to tell me,
Oh.
so you have to find them within each of these. So it's all going to be time 1 and then time 2, which is great because we're just going to, so for the first scale, I need
Oh. So you need to
question
insert all of
4.
those questions.
Yeah, let me write this down. Okay, so I need question 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, 29, 34, 39, 44, 49, 54, and 59. So we can't use the sum of that scale because we need item data for this
Got it. All right.
for this particular exercise. So I'm going to go down. That's question 4, 8, 9, 13. So this is 14. I'm just moving them up so I can see. And actually, what might be helpful is for me just to open up this window as big as I can so I can see the end of the items. There we go. That's going to be much more helpful. Okay. So I'm on 19, and I'm just double clicking them in. 19, 24, 29, 34, 39, 44, 49. Scroll down some. 54 and 59. Okay, so now I have all my items. I'm going to count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hit statistics. And I'm going to choose these 3. Item, scale, and scale if item deleted. Okay, and I didn't label this, which is going to be confusing later, but make sure that you label it agreeableness time 1. So my Cronbach's alpha is 0.75. which is below 8. So I'm just going to look and see what's going on here. There's nothing that really bumps it up to 8. So I don't recommend doing anything here. So I'm going to just put 0.75 here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and do this again and do it for agreeableness time 2. So I'm going to go analyze, scale, reliability analysis. I'm going to make sure I label it this time. Agreeableness time 2. Then I'm going to scroll down to the time 2 questions, and it's going to be the same numbers. So I'm going to do 4, while it's, I kind of remember them, 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, 29, 34, oops, too much, 39, 44, 49, 54, and 59. Okay, I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got it named. My statistics stay the same, but just to show it again, I've got item scale and scale of item deleted. Okay, so this one's nicely labeled. My Cronbach's alpha is 0.83. So it increased on time 2. And I don't need to increase it anymore, but just looking at how the items functioned. And remember, this corrected item total correlation is how the item correlates with the overall scale. So this would indicate that's not a great functioning item. Again, I'm not going to recommend to remove it. This is a known validated scale, but it's just telling me at this time, this one's not functioning that well. And above in the other one, anything below 3, it's just not correlating that well with the scale. It must be tapping something else. So there's nothing that I'm going to recommend to do with this scale. I'm just going to report it. .83. And so what you're going to do is go through and do that for each of the scales here. Now, if you note something, in your work, you want to talk about, is it meeting the 0.8 standard or not? And then if there's any items that, if it's not meeting the standard and you see any items of concern, you might want to write in your report that you would recommend that item be removed, rewritten, whatever. So you want to note problematic items only where you might suggest to remove them or rewrite them. If the scale.
So,
Mhm.
so like in the example you just said, it was like 0.1 or something. You said you wouldn't remove it because this is a known scale. Should we? What? How?
Whoa,
What would
wait.
we say?
I'm not hearing your question. Can you say it again?
Yeah, just so a little bit ago when you were looking at the column where like a couple of them were below 0.3.
Right.
And you said in this case you wouldn't recommend removing them because this is a known scale or a proven scale.
Well, let me clarify. So in this one here, the first thing I look, so this first scale or time one, I should say, is below zero point 0.8, but it's still above zero
Hmm.
point 0.7, so it's okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see if there's any item that bumps it up quite a bit. This removing this one would bump it up to 0.76. Uh, and that's as good as it gets, right? But
Okay.
0.75, 0.76, I, because it's a known scale and it's only that 1 point, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Now, if it's
Okay.
0.68 or 0.69 and that bump got it to zero point 0.7, I would. Now, down here, this one's above zero point 0.8. I'm not really going to recommend anything. I was just pointing out how you know which items are functioning better and worse within the scale.
Okay. Because even with that 0.156, it's still functioning at 0.83 if you removed it. Is that right? If
Wait,
items deleted.
say that again?
And we're current. So what's the callbacks on this one?
It's
On this test two?
0.83.
So if we deleted it, we'd still be at 0.83.
Yeah, if you deleted this
So,
one, well, you'd actually be at 0.84.
okay, so
But
but
I
that's
wouldn't.
not
But I'm
significant.
really just showing you to illustrate that. See, here's a low correlation, and removing it would bump up the reliability a bit. Here is a high correlation. Removing it would lower your reliability. So just pointing
Okay.
out how the item being correlated to the overall score contributes to whether it's reliable or not, or to the, I'm sorry, to the overall reliability of the test.
So
So
our homework would we say to remove that item then, or we say would we say to remove that item?
no, I'm just commenting on how I see this output.
Okay.
If you have a reliability below zero point 0.7 and there's an item that would get you above zero point 0.7, you want to
Okay.
recommend that you would do something with that. Now,
Okay.
if I saw an item that took me from zero point 0.8 to 0.85, just one item, that's such a big jump. I might say something about that. If it's an item that's just like point, a 1 point jump, I wouldn't do anything. But an item that has such a big jump that it's, going 5 points, that's something to note.
Okay.
And keep in mind, you can say this scale's reliable, just note that this item didn't function well. Now the other thing is you're going to be looking at time one and time two. So I would just jot down your notes about each one. And I think what would if someone was writing this report to me, my next question would be, oh well, if it didn't do well at this time, what about time two? Oh, it didn't function well in both time one and time two, we should consider removing it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think what we're just looking for is that you know that zero point 0.8 is the standard. If you see any items, again, I think on this scale, Bruce, if I saw an item that bumped me from 0.75 to 0.79 or closer to 8, I would probably do something about it, or I would recommend that something be done about it.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
I'm so glad you did that.
Good.
Do you think you would consider letting us have until class time to turn in the homework?
Yes, and you know what? I mean, I think at any point in time, if you need an extension like that, just email the TA and ask them.
Okay.
You can
All right.
always ask for an extension. And again, asking before is better than asking it. Well, you know, don't turn it in late.
Okay.
Ask before.
Okay.
Any other questions? So clear that you're going to continue to fill out this chart, and then the analysis is your thoughts on the items and your
Fine.
understanding of the standards. Okay. Well, thank
All
you
right.
everyone for coming. Thank you for the questions, and I will see you this week.
Thank you.